Hello once again, lovers of Assassin's Creed. My name is Pell, and this is the review for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Now this game came out on the 29th of October, and I am luckily being able to review it for you guys now with in-game footage, as you're seeing here. There will be some minor spoilers from the first 5 hours of the game, potentially, as well as some spoilers about events of Assassin's Creed 3. So, just know that, and we will get going. Now, the main protagonist in this game that you follow for the large majority of the story is a pirate named Edward Kenway, and if you played Assassin's Creed 3, you will recognize that he is the grandfather of Connor, our main protagonist of Assassin's Creed 3, as well as the father of Haytham, who is Connor's father. And we're introduced to him in his 20s. He is a pirate, not that well known. He is known among his pirate comrades, but he's not really that infamous. He doesn't have a crew or a ship or anything of a large recognition. And it's essentially him building up his stuff and then kind of discovering this whole dispute between the Assassins and the Templars, because very quickly into the story, like in the first 10 minutes, we are thrust into this century-long dispute between Assassins and Templars. Connor, he ends up taking down an assassin, and he ends up getting an item and aiding some Templars without really knowledge of what he was doing, outside of the fact that he was getting some money. And so, he makes this big error, and then he's essentially thrust into this massive world that we have come to know from the previous installments of the franchise. It's worth noting that Edward isn't an assassin for at least the first half of the game. He's not an official assassin. He has the outfit, but he's not really in the order whatsoever. We see the assassins as they are in this game from time to time, but Edward essentially doesn't really want anything to do with them, and after his actions in Havana in the first few hours of the game, they don't really want anything to do with him either. That is essentially the story in a very broad overview. Graphic-wise, the game actually looks really, really nice. It's obviously an upgrade from its previous installment, AC3, and you can tell by the character models during the cutscenes and also during just in-game graphics and gameplay and stuff like that, because the details on their facial features and everything like that is much more detailed, and you can notice it a lot easier than you could in Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 had really nice graphics. This one, in my opinion, is a lot better. The cities in general look really, really nice, as they usually do in Assassin's Creed games. I want to say just the last three the last two installments, AC3 and this one, they have been modeling their cities from actual maps of the cities and detailed layouts of them. So when you go to Havana, it's going to look similar to what Havana looked like in the 1600s or the 1700s. When you go to Nassau, it's going to look similar to that. When you go to Kingston, it's going to look similar to that. Just all these different places and the plethora of different areas that you can explore and do, which leads me into the gameplay section. There is so much that you can do in this game from the very get-go, and this has its goods and its bads. I'll get to the bads right away. With the bad stuff, you, like I said, you literally can do everything right away, from essentially from when you can actually start exploring the world on your own and you know enough. This, in my opinion, it doesn't really add to the consistency of the story, because Edward can start doing assassination contracts right away. He essentially knows how to do all these expert fighting moves. He's able to do just a ton of different things that he technically shouldn't know about yet or know how to do yet. In Havana, which is the first city that you end up in, I was doing assassination contracts, and the assassins weren't even a part of the main story yet, and so it just kind of didn't really make sense to me story-wise, because usually with the assassin-related side quests, you're just introduced to them, and then they appear on your map, and then you can start doing them. This just threw you in right from the get-go. It might have done it so that veterans like myself from the previous games would know, or who would know what to do, can just dive right into it, while the beginners would just follow the story until they figured out what to do. But it was just something which kind of threw me off and kind of bugged me. Another thing which kind of bugged me, which I'm sure will probably be fixed in an update, the fighting is a little bit off at times. At least in the beginning, I noticed that during fighting sequences, some of the audio sounds would not match up with the actions that were taking place, as well as the combat sequences themselves were not really following how they should have. Like sometimes, like the attack missed the person, but they still died. And there are some just hiccups throughout the combat itself, which is really noticeable. And this happens in all the Assassin's Creed games, but at this point, when the series has been around for 6 years now, 7 years, it is kind of frustrating that there's still these hiccups in the game. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure they'll get fixed, but it's still a little bit frustrating that we have to deal with them. Now to the good stuff. That being said, the gameplay is a lot of fun. I am not really finding myself bored at all, because while it is the same formula, it's a formula that I can enjoy and have fun with, and all these different types of things. And I have honestly found myself doing a lot more side quests than I really expected myself to do. As of recording this, I am on sequence 5, and I've had it for a fair amount of time, and I'm like 35% through like completion of the story, because I'm trying to 100% all the areas as I get to them as I can, and as is applicable. But just when you're sailing from place to place and discovering a new area, there's so much to do. You can plunder ships and get cargo. You can discover new islands and like find treasures there and viewpoints and all this type of stuff. There's, like I said, assassination contracts, there's viewpoints, there's animus fragments, there's a bunch of different stuff. And then even with the modern story, while it's not as, I guess you could say, interesting, it does follow the story of the previous games, in that it talks about Desmond and it talks about what happened to him and brings in some old characters. There is stuff to do in that aspect as well. There's also, throughout the game, little challenges that you'll essentially complete just by playing through the game, which are Abstergo. They're like Abstergo achievements. And you get them essentially by doing little things like kill 7 enemies in a row, or jump off a 45-foot building into a pile of hay. Stuff like that. Very simple stuff that you'll probably just end up doing throughout your course of the game. With the ship sailing, it is vastly improved from AC3. It has the same type of combat system, in that you aim your cannons and then you fire them, and you have to reload. It just has some added-on features, like you can customize your ship immensely based on the goods that you accumulate, because you plunder ships, and ships have goods in them, which you take and then you can use to either sell or improve your ship. But yeah, there's a ton to do gameplay-wise, so yeah, you'll definitely never be bored. In terms of enjoyment, I have enjoyed this game immensely so far. While it is a little overwhelming at times, this is the most open world Assassin's Creed game yet, and it's very obvious how much time the creators have spent trying to perfect this title and make it immensely fun and amazing, and it is an upgrade from Assassin's Creed 3, most definitely. I've enjoyed it immensely, and the story is still intriguing me because it does have some surprises. Yeah, graphics are amazing as usual. Gameplay is stuff that I'm used to. It has its hiccups, but I can deal with it. Yeah, definitely check it out if you have played any of the Assassin's Creed games. Preferably play Assassin's Creed 3 before you play this one, so that you understand the relationship between Haytham and Connor before playing as Edward, because I feel like that's going to come into play at some point. You might be seeing that the video is coming to an end, and you might be wondering, why isn't there something about the end of the game? Because I'm not at the end of the game yet. Just like with Grand Theft Auto 5, I will be doing a spoiler review once I finish Assassin's Creed 4 with in-game footage and all that stuff. So you can look forward to that. Like with the GTA 5 one, I don't know when it will be. I'm playing on my own schedule. I'm in college, and I have other priorities besides this game to do. So, you'll get it probably sometime in December, I would guess, when I'm on winter break. But yeah, that's what's up with that. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and as always, keep on gaming.
The Jackdaw's quartermaster.
Jackdaw. You named your brig after a poxy bird.
Ade, these lads are the better part of our growing confederacy here. Ed Thatch, Ben Hornigold, James Kidd.
You let him carry a pistol, do you?
Peace, Ben. Ade saved my life. And now we're looking to find a crew to fill out the rest of my ship.
Well, there's scores of capable men about. But use caution. A shipload of the King's sailors showed up a fortnight back, causing trouble and knocking about like they own the place.
Right. I'll see who I can muster.
Go on, Captain Queernabs. Tell me I'm under arrest. Tell me!